Welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Cannell. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson. So happy to be here for the final Bowl Locks show of the season. We have had a lot of our games from the last Bowl Locks episode be voided on the Locks doc, but we are hopeful that as we've gotten to this point in the calendar and as we've gotten to the games with these kind of stakes, that maybe we might see a few more of these locks actually get played out. Thanks to all of you that are joining us live at youtube.com/cover3. As we promised, this is your Duke's Mayo Bowl pregame show, appointment viewing for those of you who are getting it first. So we're not going to waste any time. We need to get it to you. Gentlemen, are you all ready to lock it up?
Let's do it.
We're picking locks.
My Blue Plate special 5-star locks are coming.
Since 2005, when Service Academy's
Come get these locks. 5-star master lock. Lock it up.
The under is 33-9-1. We've gone over it a million times.
You want these locks?
I'm living and dying every point, every cover.
Charlotte, North Carolina, Bank of America Stadium, a border war. North Carolina and South Carolina, both teams entering at 6-6. The line, and this is a theme for some of today's games, has been moving as this thing, as I'm looking at it right now, we got some 12s on the board. I don't know if there's even a 12.5 yet. So do we have any locks for the Duke's Mayo Bowl?
We did. Now, hold on. Does mine count? Because last week, remember I had to leave early. Mm-hmm. And then I texted you guys in the chat. I was like, give me UNC -8. And then I looked on the spreadsheet, the doc, and I'm like, why didn't they put that in there? And then I was like, oh, that game takes place after next week's locks. I can't get that number. Like I can't, that doesn't count.
Don't be afraid. Lay them. I am locking up the Tar Heels.
If Danny gets that number, I want Tennessee +3, which I bet, and now they're -7.
No. The rules of the Locks Pod is that when we are recording, that is the number you're selecting, and I'm going to take the Tar Heels, and I am absolutely going to lay every single one of those points. It's Sam Howell against Zeb Nolan. Like I understand that Sam Howell didn't live up to the expectations that you or me or anyone else might have had, but we are talking about Sam Howell against Zeb Nolan in this game. 2 touchdowns feels just fine. So I'll take the Tar Heels.
Yeah, we talked about on today's bowl season daily, Chip, that like I'd mentioned if this got to 10, I would consider South Carolina, but the fact that it moved as much as it did in as short of amount of a time, I'm just going to be staying away from, because I have a feeling we're going to be finding something out here soon.
Oh, I mean, there was rumors this game could get canceled.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm guessing, considering the way that the line has moved, one of these teams might be dealing with some issues right now.
So our 24/7 sports site, The Big Spur, shout out Hale and JC and all those guys do a great job. Literally the article in the carousel with the #1 placement is who made it to Bank of America Stadium.
Yeah. I mean, this is like Shane Beamer does not want to cancel this game. He wants to be able to lead South Carolina out there. He knows there's a ton of alumni in the Charlotte metro area and a ton of fans that made the drive. I mean, let's be honest. Charlotte is South Carolina. Might as well be an in-state game for them. But I think the team that's out on the field will likely be down a few players. And if we're talking about the South Carolina roster, it is a roster, Bud, check me on this, with less talent top to bottom than North Carolina's roster right now.
I think so. Yeah.
So missing a few people, I'm not going to be scared of it. I will lay them with the Tar Heels.
So Zeb Nolan, lest you forget, did lead a touchdown game-winning drive against the Vanderbilt Commodores way back in week whatever it was. I don't know. I'm scared about this game, but I want to take something. I need something in this game. I'll take the under because I do think if it is sideways, if North Carolina does blow them out, Mac Brown, man of class, I think he respects Shane Beamer. He doesn't want to run it up on anybody. They'll start running the ball. Second half will become a 4-minute drill. Both teams are like, hey, I don't want to get anybody hurt. Let's just get out of here, get as many bodies healthy. So I'll take the under. I feel safer with the under on the total than I do on a side. So I'll take the under. Was it 57.5?
Yeah.
Mhm.
North Carolina's a very good rushing team, and Sam Howell's been a big part of that. Ty Chandler's had a career year in that rushing attack. And Will in the chat is he drops a wouldn't it be hilarious that I will agree with, even though it means my lock goes sideways. He says, wouldn't it be hilarious if Sam Howell loses to South Carolina he beat South Carolina in his first start. Facts.
That was a must-champ special, remember?
Yeah. No, I was going to think about the storybook ending because it was Mac Brown's first game back on the sideline, and it was Sam Howell's first career start at the beginning of his true freshman season. And he came out and he beat South Carolina in Charlotte in this stadium. So, I mean, Sam Howell, I am expecting Sam Howell to go to the NFL draft. That is not, me reporting anything. That is just my prediction, and I feel pretty confident in it. And I could see this being a little bit of a bookend scenario for him. By the way, I told all the hosts here, but just so the audience knows, Lauren Brownlow of WRAL Sports Fan has confirmed that there is a Gatorade or a jug of mayonnaise that is being prepared. It has, according to Lauren, 4.5 gallons of Duke's mayonnaise with a little bit of water to be able to make it better for dumping. I've heard allegations that just makes it Alabama white sauce or ranch dressing.
That's weak sauce. like Duke's Mayo, you really couldn't just unload as much as it took to just totally slime and drench the coach in mayonnaise, and that's it. I don't know.
And so Duke's Mayo, I think, is putting up the bowl game is putting up like a $10,000 to charity to the charity of the choice of the coach who's going to do it. So here in a couple hours, we will see mayonnaise sliding down the back, watered down mayonnaise sliding down the back of either Mac Brown or Shane Beamer.
Since they've agreed to it, do they have to just wear it? Because a lot of times the coach tries to run away and you kind of get the half on the shoulder and then most of it goes on the ground. Because they've agreed to this charity, you kind of have to sit there and take it, right?
Oh, you not only sit there and take it, but you make them wait to do it until your entire social media team has their cameras perfectly locked in on you, so that we could do this with the slow-mo cam and also on the IG Live. I think it's going to be a whole production.
Oh, yeah, because it's about recruiting.
A little bit later in the afternoon on Thursday, 3:00 p.m. Eastern time, we will be in Nashville for the Music City Bowl and talk about a line that has been moving. Tennessee from +3 now sitting on Tennessee -7.5. Now, this one comes as David Bell, star wide receiver for Purdue, George Karlaftis, star defensive lineman for Purdue, are among the players that are not going to be participating for the Boilermakers. Over under at 65.5. Anyone got a lock for the Music City Bowl?
There are still some 7s out there, and that's what I'm locking up. Tennessee -7. Chip, you're not gonna hear this before, but I actually have a better line on this one that I got earlier.
I got it at a better line.
It was at 6 yesterday. It was even smaller before. Bud mentioned he got Tennessee +3 like a long time ago.
Oh, sorry.
No.
It was December 7th. I got 2,000 down on +3 and a couple more on +2.5. And lock agreement with you, Tom, on this, because I made this game pre-opt-outs Tennessee -11.
Yeah.
So even regressing to the market, for sure.
And it's not even, it's for me, we've talked about it too, Chip, on our Bowl Daily. This isn't just a volume of opt-outs as much as it's who opted out. And Purdue's best offensive player, David Bell, is opted out. The guy their entire offense is built around. And their best defensive player, George Karlaftis, is opted out. And Purdue is just not a team that I think can withstand those kind of absences, especially against a Tennessee team that's mostly at full strength and a Purdue defense that's good. And I think it'll still be good today. I just don't think it's going to do enough to slow down the Vols. And that Purdue offense is not great. And without David Bell, and they lost their, early in the season, whose name is completely escaping me right now as I stall in my own brain to try to figure out their starting running back got hurt. So basically, this is a Purdue team that's without its top running back and its top receiver. So yeah, give me the Vols.
What's the SEC's record in bowl games so far?
I think it's 0-4.
I think so too. Give me the Big Ten in this one. 7 and a hook. Let's go. 7 and a hook. Come on. Give me Purdue coming in there, chip on the shoulder, thinking that a little old, Tennessee Vol team that's had a cute story this season is going to hang with them. Owners of 2 of the bigger upsets of the season. No David Bell, no big deal. Let's go.
Aiden O'Connell. Hey, listen,
Hey, he can swing it. He's not afraid.
Yeah.
Jeff Brom's going to throw it around there too. He's like, oh, we got an offensive juggernaut over there. That's an offensive mastermind. What do you see what I'm going to have up my sleeve?
Talk to Louisville fans, and they'll tell you that Jeff Brom spent the last few weeks trying to get the Louisville job. So maybe he didn't prepare for this game.
Well, Louisville did its part in that recipe if we're going to be heading down that path.
Yeah.
7 p.m. Eastern time, we head to the Big Body Benz in Atlanta for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Pitt, no Pickett, going up against Michigan State, no Kenneth Walker. Michigan State, 3.5-point favorite, over under around 55.5. The Pat Narduzzi special is we are testing the Pat Narduzzi special here because between +3.5 and -3.5, that touchdown, Pat Narduzzi is a very good against the spread record as the head coach of the Pitt Panthers. 3.5 is right there on the line. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to not invoke the Pat Narduzzi tight game special. I think that the loss of Mark Whipple also has to change our expectations for this offense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not betting anything. I'm not locking anything up. If I have a lean, it is still on the over because I do think that, Kenny Pickett's absence is obviously having a pretty sizable impact on this total. I think it opened closer to 64 originally, and it's dropped now 9 points, depending on where you're getting it. I don't think it's that huge of a drop for this offense, even without Whipple. And I do think Michigan State's secondary is still problematic. And I think that the Panthers can take advantage of that. And I also think the Spartans, even without Kenneth Walker, will be able to move the ball a little bit on this Pitt defense. So not locking anything up, but if I were to take something, it would be the over.
So
But
Jalen Nader's not playing either,
Right.
The receiver for Michigan State. Man, I do think Pickett is a pretty important piece for Pitt. It's not like their run game is really that good.
No, offensively, it's been a weakness.
Jordan Addison's playing, right, though?
Yes.
Addison's playing. Tasir Mack is not playing. Pickett's not playing. And Whipple is obviously gone. He resigned. Nick Patty is through 14 passes this year. Completed 12. So maybe he's not that good. I'm a little bit worried here with the over that maybe Narduzzi, being a defensive-minded head coach, reverts to his roots, tries to pound the ball some, and that's not really the way to attack Michigan State. Like Michigan State run defense, not that bad. Michigan State pass defense at times this year. I was very eager to bet Pitt if they were full strength here because I do feel like they could absolutely shred Michigan State's secondary. But now I don't know what to do with this. Sorry, I talked too long for a guy that didn't have a damn pick.
I feel I got a live blog it.
Come on, let's go. 3 and a hook. Let's go. Nick Patty, Jordan Addison, the new connection that's going to happen. By the way, who is second in the country in sacks as a team?
Is it Pitt?
It is Pitt. They can get after the quarterback. No Kenneth Walker, I almost feel like is a bigger deal than Pickett, which sounds kind of crazy because Pickett had a spectacular season. And I do think it'll be interesting. What if Patty plays well? Like, does that hurt Kenny Pickett's stock that much? I would lean the under because of what I was just talking about, but I'm going to go ahead and take Pitt. Wants to be there. Let's go. Give me the ACC, boys.
Danny's going to lock up every single game because he doesn't want to watch them. There are too many of them to begin with, so he's giving himself reason to care.
Dang right I do.
All dogs too, right?
Hey, keep them. Well, we haven't finished out our picks yet, but
Okay.
I kind of want to do a 2-for-1 special and take the under, but I'll stay away from it because some of these bowls get a little wacky.
Yeah. I have not confirmed this recently, but at one point in the season, they were thinking about opening up the roof for this one. I'd keep it closed, especially if you want the over. Let's keep that thing like climate controlled track meet kind of set up.
The weather in Atlanta tonight is supposed to only be in the 40s. I don't know why in the world they're thinking of opening that thing.
Pitt and Michigan State want to feel at home. What if they requested it? They want to have some of the natural elements.
How many people do you think will be there? Like, do you think it'll be well attended? Because I have my brother-in-law, Sparty. He big Michigan State fan. He's going, and I was like, "How did you get your tickets?" He's like, "Oh, somebody gave them to me." I don't know if it's going to be a typical Peach Bowl crowd.
I think
hope
Michigan
so.
State fans will show up. I couldn't speak to Pitt, but I think
Yeah.
Michigan State fans will be pretty pumped for this game.
I would agree with that. Wisconsin and Arizona State's going to be your nightcap on Thursday. It is the Las Vegas Bowl. The Badgers are favored by 7, over under of 42. Anybody got a lock?
I do. There aren't any 6.5s left, unfortunately, so I'll take the 7, but I don't really care because I took an alt line on this one anyway. I took Wisconsin minus 9.5 at like plus 150, I think. But this is like Arizona State, Herm's team. It's identity. It's complementary football. It runs the ball. Plays good defense. You know, it's like a Big Ten West team, just like the Wisconsin team that it's facing, which runs the ball as an elite defense. Problem for Arizona State is it's missing its 2 leading rushers and 3 starters on its defense for this game, all of whom have opted out to get ready for the NFL draft or to enter the transfer portal. And that seems like it's going to be a problem to me against this Wisconsin team, because even though the Badgers offense has a tendency to come and go, defensively, they've been there all season long. I don't see Arizona State being able to put up many points or putting together a lot of long drives against this defense. I don't think Wisconsin's going to need to score too much to cover this one. So I am taking Wisconsin minus 7, but, you know, mess around with some outlines, see what you can find. It worked pretty well for me with Maryland yesterday.
Also, Arizona State, the guys who opted out, I think are pretty important.
Yes.
So both starting corners who started
Mhm.
every single game this year.
Mm-hmm.
And a linebacker.
And a backer who had 68 tackles,
Yep.
8.5 for loss. I'm not going to, well, I don't think we can give this out. Can we give this out?
What do you mean?
I'm gonna go real sicko mode here. I want Wisconsin first half team total
Over?
over 12.5. I think they come out and they hit
Oh,
some
that's a
bombs
good
and then they
number.
pound the ball.
I know that's a good number.
Yeah.
I would also take 13, which is out there as well.
I'm probably going to go looking that up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, that's a really good. And you know what else is great about that number, Bud? Because if you really want to treasure your bedtime, hey, that's a great way to be able to cash this ticket and not have to stay up for the end of the Las Vegas Bowl. See, get that 2 touchdown lead at halftime, or not even a lead, just be able to get 2 touchdowns. You could be in bed by 11:15 Eastern.
No. For everyone who tweeted at me about how great the Bulls are, you are forced to watch every last minute of this game until 1:30 a.m. or whatever time it gets over.
I think that this is my guess. That was from someone who's had to do a lot of bowl content. I felt like that tweet came from the heart of somebody who had just got done doing an hour picks show and getting pulled to do radio hits and podcasts and getting asked about every single bowl game, because from that position, I do feel you, but it's just, we just need to have a constant hum of bowl action so that everybody can just pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down. I mean, I feel like I'm the only person on my street who's been working this week. Been working every single day, and everywhere I look, all the houses just have bowl games on and kids running around, and they're not paying attention to it, but they just need it as like a buzzy background noise. And we just have to be there. We're the only people in America who actually are being tasked with what you're saying of getting deep into every single bowl game.
To be fair, I was irritated by the pinstripe bowl. That was the one that bothered me. Maryland, Virginia Tech was getting crushed. Their quarterback's about to get killed because he doesn't have anybody who wants to play. That game to me bothered me. Cheez-It Bowl was awesome. And, you know, the late one, I guess if you like Bob Stoops, it was fun to watch the first half. And then credit to Oregon for clawing their way back in it. But I don't know. There was one great game. There's like one great game a day, which is awesome. You just have to watch all of them if you're in our business to make sure you can discuss them. So maybe there was some irritation there.
I don't think that there's a lot of college football fans who have that demand. You know, they just like to pick it up and put it down, and put it down. We're the only ones that have to keep the content machine churning 24 hours a day through the holidays. Oh yeah, by the way, Wisconsin -7. I'll lock that up.
Yay.
Yeah.
Can we do some live betting advice, by the way?
Sure.
North Carolina does have a tendency to start slow. And I think given who is out for South Carolina, in about 20 minutes, I'm probably going to be looking for opportunities to live bet like UNC over. Especially if South Carolina comes out, UNC feels them out. And then, like, given who UNC's offensive coordinator is. We know that guy likes to score points for himself. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was hitting the live over on Oklahoma's team total a few times last night, and they all worked out wonderfully. It's like as soon as I heard like Oregon's starting a tight end at defensive end tonight, I was like, all right, well, let's go over here. We're gonna do that.
The best part about this pod being when it is, we got kickoff in 9 mintes, so we might be able to give out one live.
We might live bet on the show.
Yeah.
Do we have can we live bet for locks?
No, not for locks. But this is
That's
for
a
the
step too
audience.
far for Chip.
I mean, I can't handle that right now. But for everyone who's watching, and we have a large audience that's watching, that is going to be a reason to stick around for the live betting advice on Duke's Mayo Bowl once this thing gets started. Taking us into Friday, New Year's Eve, another early start, 11 a.m. Eastern time in Jacksonville, Wake Forest, and Rutgers. Rutgers, of course, answered the call. They were smart this year or over the last 3 years or whatever the rolling formula is that gets your APR score together. The highest APR score of all bowl of 5 and 7 teams. Rutgers answered the call to replace Texas A&M in this game. Wake Forest favored by 16, over under of 62. What are we going to do in the Gator Bowl?
First of all, is APR actually tied to grades, or is it just you didn't fail?
No, it's just progressing.
Yeah. So you don't have to be smart to have a high APR score. And I mean, I am not locking anything up. I feel like Wake Forest is the right side, but I this is one of those games like this is not a situation we've seen much of before, so I'm not going to be betting anything. This is a live bet game, if nothing else.
I have no clue what to do.
Yeah,
I'm with Tom.
Yeah, I like my money too much to be bet on this.
I mean, Wake should blow them out in theory because Rutgers is not a very good team, but Rutgers is very good at dragging you down into the mud with it. So it's like, I don't know. I have no idea. And I have no idea like who's even really available for Rutgers, who's like, because it's the weird thing about all these games being canceled and then schools being contacted about like filling in and whether or not they were interested. It's like, I feel like a lot of the coaches were out in front, like, hell yeah, we want to play. Meanwhile, a lot of the players were at home like, huh? What?
That's what I would love to know. I would love to know what the reaction was from the players. Like, awesome. Let's go to Jacksonville. We get the bowl experience. We're going to have fun. We get to play one more game. Or were they like, geez, I gotta, I gotta go like practice hard and get ready. I don't know. Like, I don't know what it was. Have you guys heard they did have like a contingency or at least a heads up that like Schiano and the Rutgers staff said, like, be ready. Like we might get an opportunity. Have you heard that?
The only reason this worked is because it was early compared to how these other games have been canceled. We got Texas A&M.
Yeah, they bowed out quick. That must have been a bad COVID bug for them. Whew. And they knew that it was going to take a long time for them to recover from it 8 days ago.
Yeah.
And opt-outs as well.
And injuries.
Yeah.
And whatever
transfers.
else.
Yeah.
There was just a lot they had to deal with.
Yeah. I think that I think they were scared of Wake Forest.
Inside info from Lance Glenn, who is our one of our podcast producers for the 24/7 Sports Network, including the recruiting podcast, which you guys need to go listen to. He went to Rutgers and is still tight with a lot of folks there, and he said they're very pumped to play the game.
Cool.
I'm glad they're excited. For Wake Forest, this motivation is to 11 wins has only been hit once in program history, and it was in the 2006 ACC championship season. They're obviously very frustrated with the way that the ACC championship game went with all those interceptions and the game kind of getting away from them really quickly. Wake's fired up to play this game. They are very glad that they were able to find a replacement opponent.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're Wake too, there's a bit of terror involved because like you had a great season, but if your season ends with getting kind of pantsed in the ACC title game and then losing to Rutgers in a bowl game, that leaves a real sour taste in your mouth on what should have been a very happy season.
Give me Wake. Block it up. Hey, somebody has to have some balls on here. Somebody called out our manhood. Rutgers got beat 40-16 from Maryland. They got beat 52-3 by Wisconsin. I think Wake has got to tear them up. They got to get after it. I think they will.
I lean towards Danny there, to be honest. Now, the only issue is Roberson's out, the receiver for Wake. Now, they do still have a couple.
But that's because of injury. Wake's got no opt-outs. There's 2 players that are unavailable, but both of them are for injury reasons.
Well, I thought Roberson was opting out to prepare for the draft.
Let's see.
Dueling sources.
Well,
now, granted, it doesn't really matter to supposed to kick off. Like we could agree he's not playing, right?
He's not playing.
Yeah, I'm saying he's not. Yeah,
I heard he is. I'm just kidding.
He's doing minor surgery, doing cleanup stuff. So he's opting out.
Both.
He's
yeah,
opting into surgery. Yeah.
Okay, the one reason why I do think Wake makes sense to play here is that Wake's very explosive passing football. Rutgers is 129th in passing explosiveness allowed. So probably bombs away.
Would you on all of these? Because I was just looking at it, I was like, hey, do I just back myself up here and load up on Wake? Wouldn't you wait on all of these till game time just to make sure there's no COVID last minute, UCLA type deal where UCLA backed out, but there could be a significant issue? I don't know. Like I would say that's probably the smart thing to do on most of these games.
Yes.
Unless, yeah. Like I bet some early and got big time CLV on it and still didn't win. I think I'm like 2-9 this bowl season, but I don't really think that. Like I think you're kind of in a dead zone right now, unless you think you're ahead of the news. Which, if you are, congrats. Drop it in the chat.
Yeah,
help me out,
please. All right, let's do the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. You can watch it on CBS. It's another game that has been saved after Miami was unable to make the trip to El Paso. Central Michigan, which was 4-hour drive away in Arizona, Boise State left them at the altar. So then they got in the car and drove to El Paso. And now they are going to be suiting up against Washington State. Jake Dickert, the interim tag has been removed. He has been promoted. Central Michigan, led by our good friend Jim McElwain. Washington State -7 is the spread, over under 57.5. What are we thinking?
You guys did see how much more CBS paid than Barstool could pay, right?
Correct. It was like $3.5 million to $300,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a 13x.
Yeah. It was no brainer.
That broadcast money, it just hits different.
Yeah.
So any locks?
No.
I want to take Washington State. I feel like this is a team that has dealt with so much, with their coach, getting fired. They still feel like they fought a lot. I feel like they're more talented. This one just feels weird.
I do have a couple thoughts on this. So I think the number, just power ratings wise, is kind of okay. You know what I mean? But like matchup wise, how much is Washington State going to be chucking the ball around here? That's what I want to know. Like it's I hate to cop it out and say, hey, this is more of a live betting game. But I mean,
why wouldn't they chuck the ball around?
I don't know. I mean, they do have Borgie still, so maybe they'll let him.
Borgie's out, I think, isn't he?
Oh, is he out? Okay,
yeah,
then
Borgie opted out.
Oh, excuse me. He did opt out.
He's opting out. He's getting ready for the draft.
They're also without right tackle Abraham Lucas and corner Jalen Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Jaden Dellara still throws the ball a good bit in this game.
Central Michigan's pass defense is really pretty bad, I will say. I mean, they are like outside the top 100 in a lot of categories. So I don't hate the favorite here, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not locking it up, but there is just my philosophy of fading the MAC when it comes to bowl season, especially against a Power 5 team. I mean, they have not looked very good in the last few bowl seasons.
Solo spotlight for our final 2 games on December 31st. They are going to be the college football playoff semifinals. The first one's in Dallas, the Cotton Bowl. Alabama, Cincinnati, Alabama -13.5, over under a 57.5. We somehow made it through an entire super preview without really given away any of our locks. Now, you might have been able to decipher them. The loyal listeners can sense our leans and our biases, and they remind us all the time. So who's got a lock for the Cotton Bowl?
I
Bama.
do.
Bama, lay the good number with Alabama. Alabama wins semifinal games by an average of 18 points per game, and those are against teams that aren't Cincinnati. Lay the 13.5 with Alabama.
Lock agreement. It's not fun. It's the right play. I don't know if it's, as you said, Chip, Alabama has blown out everybody it's facing the semifinal, except for the one time it lost when it lost to Ohio State in 2014. And the closest
11-point loss was
it had the 28-0 lead on Oklahoma after like a quarter, and then it just kind of took its foot off the gas and got ready for the title game afterwards. I just don't know how Cincinnati can really keep up with this team. Like the way that Alabama played against Georgia, if Alabama can do that to Georgia, I have a feeling it can do it to Cincinnati too. And I just don't know if offensively Cincinnati can keep up. And I think that between Kobe Bryant and between Sauce Gardner, they have two good corners who can help slow down Alabama's passing attack a little bit. But I also don't know how that defensive line is going to hold up against the Alabama offensive line, because we point to the way Cincinnati played against Notre Dame earlier this year as a good sign for it. And it was a very good game. But the thing about Notre Dame's offensive line was that it was a very young unit. And early in the season, it wasn't very good. And it got better as the year went along to where it's a pretty good line now. I don't know if Cincinnati would have the same success against Notre Dame if it played them this week instead of playing Alabama. So I just don't. It'd be a fun story. I hope it's a close game, but I just feel like this is going to be the blowout. So I'm laying it with Alabama.
I've got one. First half under 30. I think eventually Bama will, get on them. I don't know that happens immediately. I think Cincinnati's defense is pretty damn good. They don't blow a lot of assignments. They can play man-to-man very well. They can also play some zone. I think if you're Nick Saban, the only way you lose this game is, if you just turn the ball over a lot, because I really don't think that Cincinnati can score that much on your defense. So I think a little more conservative game plan here for Saban and the Tide is probably in order starting out. And as long as the game is within script, Cincinnati probably doesn't have to start doing anything crazy, I wouldn't think. Of course, I mean, hey, if I lose this, if Cincinnati says, hey, beat us in man coverage, and Bama's like, okay, and bombs it on them. But obviously that's why they call it betting. So under 30 for me in the first half.
Come on, Danny.
I'll take the Bearcats.
Yeah.
Got to do it. On
You going money line? Oh.
It's a lot of daggum points in a playoff game. I will remind you guys, against Texas A&M, Bama was a 19.5-point favorite. Zach Calzada came out, shocked the world. I don't think Cincinnati shocks the world with a win. I think this will probably be a 10-point Alabama win. I'm a little bit worried about, the late, like you might be sweating this one out late. I think Cincinnati's better than we're giving them credit for. And I think their defense will be able to slow down. I think the loss of Mechie is a big deal. Probably my biggest concern is that Will Anderson wreaks absolute havoc, like the strip sack, pick, pick six potentially, like what he could do against this defense. But I do think that Cincinnati's defense will be able to at least have a game plan to prevent the big play from happening. Like I think they can help with Jamison Williams in coverage enough to keep him contained. So I think Cincinnati makes a game of it.
I hope they do.
I mean, that's if I'm wrong, I'm enjoying the end of this game. If I'm right, it's Alabama-Washington again. And it's just like a slow chokeout. And they were 2 touchdown favorites coming in. B-Rabbit, a loyal listener in the chat, pointed that out. He said it was 16.5-point favorites against Washington. Everybody was all on Washington talking about too many daggum points. And Alabama just kind of...
What was that score? Wasn't it close in the first half? When did it get sideways?
It never really got sideways. I think the final score was 24-7.
Yeah.
It never got crazy. It was just, you knew from the start that Washington was not going to win the game. You could just tell by the way that their offense was not able to do anything, that they weren't going to win the game.
Browning threw the pick six to the defensive lineman right before the half. Remember?
That's
Yeah.
what it was. Because
It was like 10. It was like 10-7 going into the half. But to Tom's point, we never ever had any reason to think that Washington could move the football on Bama, and it was basically just, can Chris Peterson find some sort of magic here? And the answer was no, because Jake Browning was their quarterback, and they didn't really have.
And I do think Desmond Ridder is a upgrade on
Yes.
Pac-12 offensive
Yes.
freshman of the year, Jake Browning.
Is this Cincinnati team a bottom 5 team ever to make the playoff? I don't think so.
No.
I mean,
It's a
the
good team.
Michigan State team is the number 1 team, or the worst playoff team ever with a bullet, I think.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
I mean, 38-0 total stomp out to 2015 Bama.
Tennessee had this team in the fourth quarter in a dogfight. I don't know that
It is.
I'm going with more of what I saw all season long, and I'm trying to ignore the SEC championship game. If you get that version of Bama, like tease it up to whatever you want to, take an alt line and make it 21, whatever it is. I'm going with, we're going to get more of what we got most of the season from Bama, which wasn't the dominant team.
Also, I don't have them in front, but what were Alabama's numbers in that stadium? Isn't it something ridiculous? Like they're undefeated, winning by an average of 100 points per game in that stadium.
In the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
They also crushed USC in that stadium to open the year, if you recall. By the way, did you see the players voted to not leave the team hotel?
Yes.
That's a lot easier vote to make when you're in Fort Worth than you are in Miami, by the way. I want to point that out. Like, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Why did Saban choose Dallas? No distractions.
Listen, there are several chain restaurants near the Star that you could go to.
Where was the Super Bowl played when the Atlanta Falcons DB got clipped for
that was in Miami.
Game? That was in Miami.
Yeah.
Exactly right, Danny.
And that's where we will turn our attention now for
That's
the
a
Orange
transition,
Bowl.
baby.
7:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Georgia and Michigan. The Bulldogs favored by 7.5. Over under a 45.5. Locks.
My favorite play of the playoffs. Give me the under.
Ooh, unders in the 40s for your shorties.
45.5. Is that where it is I can get?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think both of these teams are going to do what they've done all season long. They're going to play great defense. They're going to try to run the football. Look at South Carolina's getting after Sam Howell. They got off the field early. They're going to, and I think especially Georgia, I think they're tentative on Stetson Bennett. I think they're like, hey, we're going to ride our defense. We don't have to face Bryce Young. We don't have to worry about getting sliced and diced, carved up. So we're going to go back to what we do. We're going to control. We're going to play conservative on the offensive side of the ball, maybe take our shots. And then I think Michigan will probably try to do the same with Haskins and Corum in the backfield. I think it's going to be a challenge for them to run the football, but I don't think they're going to have, they don't have Bryce Young on their team either. So I think it's going to be a bloodbath that everybody thinks it's going to be.
I'll take Michigan and all those points, and let's go ahead and punch that in while it's 7 and a hook. And I don't know, a little bit of a gut play. I think it's a very good number if you like this matchup and think that the two of them are going to end up playing a close and competitive game, because you're going to be sitting there. If the game, for example, is tied with 4 minutes left and the place is going crazy and the atmosphere is incredible, and after Alabama blew out Cincinnati, we're like, yes, finally, this is what we wanted. If you're sitting on 7.5, you've got, very, very hard to lose that in that scenario. So I think that these two teams match up very well. I think it's a favorable number. I believe that truly it is a coin flip, or at least the kind of game that Michigan has. What is the percent probability of like a 7.5 point spread? I don't know. It's higher. Michigan's probability of winning this game is higher than what 7.5 suggests. And so I'll take all those points.
I am terrified of the Daxton Hill situation.
You think that because of him going up against Bowser?
Yeah, I think that it's, like Aiden Hutchinson's obviously the bigger name. David Ojabo was awesome. But just Daxton Hill is a huge X factor in this game. Because he's very good, but like you said, he's the guy who's going to be covering Brock Bowers. And if he's not there, that's a huge advantage. That's something I think Georgia can exploit. Because I think
he's big in run support.
Yeah, he's a very important player on that defense. If he's
Are
not
y'all
there,
believing this JT Daniels might be out there playing with the first team, or do you think that's the break glass in case of emergency option?
Is that out there? I didn't see that. Is that like a rumor that's out there? People,
I would not say it's credible. I think
Gotcha.
that there is there's a notion that we see JT Daniels in this game.
if it's early and it's not a break the glass type of situation, I think it's a panic move from Kirby. But I mean, I think that is a panic. I think you have to go with the guy that got you there this far. Again, it was not Stetson.
Well, we were talking
Bennett's
about
fault
his
at all.
mobility being a great thing against the Michigan pass rush. Is something that you would want.
Yeah.
How healthy is he? Like that, to me, that's what it comes down to. I don't know how to comment on this because I don't know how healthy Daniels actually is.
And do you
Right.
mean from a COVID situation or from the oblique and shoulder? or everything else?
Oblique, shoulder, all that kind of stuff.
How can he?
I
Not
do
be
not
healthy,
think that
though?
they're going to put.
He
I don't
hasn't
think they're
done
going to play
anything.
Daniels. I think it'll be Bennett. Now, if they really don't think Bennett gives you a shot to beat Bama, if you make it through, then maybe you roll it. You roll him later. But South Carolina running back pass caught touchdown.
Is now the
So-
live time to hammer
Dang it,
North
I'm
Carolina
behind.
live?
Yeah.
Chip, your minus 12 might have already lost.
Yeah.
Because it's what 7-0?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a lot of time, my friend.
69-yard running back pass.
Wow. That was a little wildcat, I think, wasn't it?
They're playing hard.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting creative. South Carolina is.
Beamer wants the Mayo. He wants it. All right. Any other Georgia Michigan locks?
I think the numbers
Staying away-
kind of good, to be honest. Like I'm not really showing any value against the number there. I have thought about playing Michigan team total under first half, just seeing if they pound their heads into the wall, and see if they can run on Georgia. But I'm not going to hit that yet. Well,
What's that number going to be?
it is 7.5.
That is stressful, my friend. That is a sweat. You get one special team touchdown, and things get dicey real quick.
That's true. And we know in big games, Georgia special teams sometimes are an issue, like the fake punt, if you recall.
I do. I very much recall. Yes, very intensely. Coming up on the other side, we'll take it into the new year. The rest of our locks for the rest of the bowl season, starting on New Year's Day with the Outback Bowl. Next. Penn State taking over Coconut Shrimp. Arkansas suiting up for the Bloomin' Onion. I don't know how y'all feel about Coconut Shrimp. I have no relationship with Outback, so I feel like I can speak freely.
I used to work at Outback.
But I mean, shouldn't everyone root for the SEC? Just based on the bang for your buck that you get. If you've got a table of 4 and you get one free appetizer, that onion is going to go way farther in terms of what it's delivering to the entire table, how much you can enjoy of it. Coconut shrimp's going to be gone in a heartbeat. You don't even get time to savor the coconut shrimp.
Yeah, but then you got to sit at that table and smell everybody's breath after you all just ate a bunch of onions.
I'm team Bloomin' Onion. I'm with you.
Yeah. Arkansas is a 2-point favorite in this game, over under of 48. Does anybody have a lock?
I do. Arkansas -2. I'll just go through the list. Penn State, Jahan Dotson, out. Ellis Brooks, out. Brandon Smith, out. Jaquan Brisker, out. Derek Tangelo, out. Arnold Evakidi, out. All pretty important players for Penn State. This is a team that I'm pretty sure mentally just wants to get the hell on to 2022. I think, Arkansas will also be missing a couple players itself. Traylon Burks is out. Trey Williams is out.
Arrested.
Yeah. But like Sam Pittman, I just feel like this team's going to be fired up, ready to play, looking to get a win over a Big Ten team in a big bowl game on New Year's Day. So give me the Hogs -2.
What's the SEC's record in bowl games as we're sitting here recording at 11:45 Eastern on Thursday?
It's
That would
0-4.
Yeah, 0-4.
I got to take Danny at the roulette table here. I mean, do you think that the SEC is going to finish with 0 bowl wins? I mean, regression suggests that there are just some SEC wins that are out there. And boy, this does feel like one of them. Arkansas, short number go ahead and lay it. And I think that I am ready to test, in a bowl game for the first time since 2016. They're going to be, excited about the process. But I am ready to test my gut feeling that Sam Pittman's a good bowl coach. That, like, from really connecting with his players, enjoying the experience with his players, trying to celebrate that as much as possible in a way that can have some value when we start to make these predictions. We talk about bad bowl coaches, good bowl coaches. Sam Pittman, just off the cuff, I'm going to say he's got a lot of the qualities that you would expect to be a good bowl coach. So I will ride with Sam Pittman and the SEC bowl record regression, lay the 2 points with the Hogs.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead and lock it up for me. Not
Ooh,
huge, but mainly because of the offense that Arkansas runs. Even without Treylon Burks, that is a lot of isolating guys in space, and there are a bunch of dudes out for Penn State. Also, like, defensive coordinator Brent Pry is gone as well. So that concerns me a little bit. And Arkansas does not give up a whole lot of explosive plays typically. So you're asking Sean Clifford without his best weapon to consistently try to drive the football, execute in the red zone, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really think that is something that he's going to do very well. So,
I mean, the thing with Jahan Dotson is you basically lose your running game too, because Penn State can't run the ball, and they use like a lot of bubble screens as Jahan Dotson as their run game. So he's gone. So you've got your deep threat gone. You've got your run game. He's gone, and you're still behind a pretty mediocre offensive line.
1 p.m. Eastern time, the Fiesta Bowl features Marcus Freeman in his first game as head coach, leading the Notre Dame Fighting Irish against Oklahoma State. Now, I mentioned good bowl coach, bad bowl coach. How about Mike Gundy? 15 consecutive appearances in the bowl season. Cowboys are 10-5. Now, it's their first time in the New Year's Six since 2015. I believe that might have been an L for the Cowboys back then to Ole Miss. Check me. Doesn't matter. 10-5 is right. Oklahoma State is a 2-point underdog in this game, and the over-under is 45. Jim Knowles not going to be there, I'm assuming, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Anybody got a lock?
yeah, Notre Dame. I think they're the better team. None of the opt-outs really are scaring me. They have plenty of good backs. So Kyron Williams, I think his opt-out probably has caused this number to not inflate beyond where I think it should be. Notre Dame -2. I think this number should be north of a field goal and probably closer to 5. I think Oklahoma State's offense is complete BS. So, yeah, go ahead and give me the Irish. Now, I might be missing something here. I bet this one is open to 2, by the way.
I've got to play on the total.
This is the one bet that I've made that
is
is not
total
moved.
as well. I mean, you said it. Their offense is trash. No Kyron Williams. It's not like Notre Dame's offense is dynamic by any means. Give me the under. Under City.
Fight, fight, fight.
There's just too many fast players on the field, and this game doesn't mean a lot. I just, overs have been good in bowl games, and we talk about how the defense, sometimes we just see these defenders, they are a step slow. There's some miscommunication, a couple big plays here and there. 45 is a low number for the speed and the athleticism and the talent that's going to be on the field. I think that, and especially with Jim Knowles not being a part of this for the Cowboys, I'll go ahead and take the over. I think this game might have one or two dumb plays that lead to touchdowns that be able to take us over the top, or at least keep me from wanting to take the under. 45's too low, so I'll go ahead and I'll take the over.
Chip, you got to root against Oklahoma State going 1 for 10 again in the red zone.
Oh yeah, no, both teams I could see having some trouble in the red zone. It's that the red zone offenses for both these teams are reasons why Danny wins this lock fight. But I do think that special teams, defensive touchdown, something that just ends up being like a blown assignment. There's too much talent on the field for me to think that too much talent and no stakes. That is my combination that gets me to the over.
Let's just all agree that no matter what happens, if Notre Dame blows Oklahoma State out, we say it's because the players are all happy Brian Kelly's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. And we also make them preseason top 3 next year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Marcus Freeman's Notre Dame Fighting Irish in 2022 is going to be one of the biggest national storylines of the year going into it. Finishing number 5 is like the best thing that can happen to you.
So I'm going to be fading Notre Dame next year. Then you're saying, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
that
who's
is,
your number 1 team next year? Bama and Ohio State's number 2.
yeah.
Okay.
Illinois.
Regardless of outcome,
Yes.
because Bryce Young's coming back.
And
I
CJ
think so.
Stroud's back. You just sort of
Yeah.
throw those 2 up at the top.
Oh, I was more curious on Bama. I think, yeah, 1-2.
I mean, who does
Illinois
Bama lose off this team?
Jamison Williams.
Jameson
Yeah, Will
Williams.
Anderson's back. Jeez.
But Illinois got Tommy
Evan
DeVito
Neal.
now, so Illinois number 1.
I think that's where do you put Clemson?
Top 10?
10? Yeah. But not higher than 5.
I don't think so.
No, not me. Somebody will, but not me.
What do you do with Michigan?
Oh, Michigan will be top 5, I would bet, in that area. I mean, unless they get absolutely crushed by Georgia. But even then, they still beat Ohio State soundly. So it's like I still think that going into next year, they'll be ranked pretty high.
What
They
if
lose both Ajabo and Hutchinson, right?
They definitely lose Hutchinson. I'm not 100%
Ajabo
sure.
is a third-year
What
guy?
if we're getting sidetracked from our locks? What if Caleb Williams goes to Georgia? 3?
If Caleb Williams goes to Georgia, they might be number 1.
That's what I was kind of kidding at. Like, does that?
Did he say something at the press conference last night?
He did not say he was locked in, coming boomer sooner. He said he was going on vacation, taking some time.
Buddy. Y'all, listen, Brent, let me talk to you real quick. You and Jeff need to find out who to talk to.
Don't
and where to
forget
get
that
this
NIL
done.
money. That NIL money is real nowadays.
Oh, Danny, look what you did.
Danny, this is going to cause major rumors.
Dennis just tweeted, Dennis Dodd just tweeted, my God, we've reached the point where hyping a condiment being poured on an adult male passes for programming. When we have the discussion about bowl relevance, I'll start right here. Look what you've done, Danny.
There
You
we go.
infected Dennis.
Bowl season is not broken. It's doing fine.
Yeah.
Man, you guys must love preseason football, NFL too.
No,
right?
no,
It's
because
great.
why does every game have to be for high stakes?
Entertainment.
It's entertainment.
Look.
It's a bowl game.
These bowls are not really for the college ball fans. They're just there because you don't want to talk to your in-laws the entire time and you want something on in the background, and they're really for the casual fans. That's why they rate so damn well, because everybody's home this
They
time of
rate
year.
well
Like,
because there's
we're working.
nothing else on a Thursday
Right.
at 11:30 a.m.
It's
those
absolutely
fans-
a gold mine for ESPN. They don't really care if the guys opt out. You know who cares
Right,
who
they
opts
don't
out?
know him. They
The
never knew
Bulls
him
care
to
if they
begin
opt
with.
out. Like,
Right.
I
the
gotta
Bulls are in a weird
disagree.
spot.
I gotta disagree because I don't consider myself a casual college football fan, and I love the hell out of it.
No, it's not that you don't watch it, Tom. It's that they are so profitable and popular because of all the casuals who watch it.
But
during
yeah,
this time of
but
year.
like if you look at the ratings for them, it seems like it's a lot more than just casuals who are watching these games.
Right,
And if
but
you
they
look at the
wouldn't
number
have
of
'em
bets
if it
being
was-
placed on them, it seems like there's a lot more than just casuals watching these games.
No, I don't want to imply that it is just casuals. I'm saying they are so profitable because of the added eyeballs and
Gotcha.
interest you get from people who are home from work. Like a lot of the country kind of works, kind of doesn't, especially now that we're all working from home during COVID, like not really working a ton during this time of year. I mean, we are because we're producing college football content. Like, gotta
Yeah,
go to Under Armour
Like I
after this.
said, I'm the only one on this street who's working. Everybody else is just kicking it.
I was at Disney last night till 9:30 shooting video and got up and Jordan labeled it for me, which was awesome. We're going to ship that off for doing the Under Armour stuff. But like most of the country isn't working a whole lot right now, so they got it on in the background. It's pretty cool.
Fun.
That's why they exist.
Just one question though, because we're getting way off track now, but for we got to expand the playoffs because these bowl games are now becoming meaningless. How many opt-outs were there before the college football playoff?
None, right?
Yeah. So why is expanding the playoff going to solve opt-outs when the playoff is pretty much what led to them?
Well, it will solve opt-outs because there is a stigma for opting out of a game in which your team still has
Matters.
something to play for.
So
You're a
we're just
selfish
giving
player.
ourselves 4 more games where there won't be opt-outs, where there'll still be even more opt-outs in every single other game. So then
Yes.
after we expand to 12, everybody will just say the rest of the bowl games are meaningless and there are too many bowl games. So it won't fix anything. It'll just give us more playoff games.
I'm all about more football. Let's just give them a 13th regular season game.
I'd be okay with that.
All right, so South Carolina is actually playing Dakarian Joyner here in this ball game.
Not Zeb Nolan.
Correct.
Well, they're rotating in. I think they're using the kid as like a wildcat, aren't
and
they?
now they just put him in.
Yeah, they're like rotating quarterbacks. They actually have a nice little creative game plan they've come out with, like
South Carolina
misdirection.
13-0, 66-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, this has Mac Brown like disappointed after like we weren't ready to play. We had to like this.
Whoever gets that job at like if they stink next year again and Mac gets the hook, that's going to be a really sought after job. By the way,
it's a great gig.
You're going to have
diamond in
two
the rough.
openings in the coastal that people are really going to like.
No. The phrase you're supposed to use is sleeping giant.
Yeah, sleeping giant's even better.
Nah, sleeping giant ain't waking up.
So
And they
what are
just
we
make
doing
the
live
field goal
line here?
too?
Any
Yeah.
live line plays?
No, I'm dug in with my loser ticket. I'm not going to throw bad money and throw more money.
Oh, and they went for 2 and got it.
Well, I'm looking at it. What it is. Oh, they haven't adjusted yet. Hold on.
All right. Well, hey, Citrus Bowl, Iowa and Kentucky. Kentucky favored by 3, over under of 44. No Tyler Goodson for the Hawkeyes. Give me Kentucky. Short number, SEC regression. Also, Mark Stoops, good bowl coach. Got wins against NC State, Virginia Tech. Yeah, because I looked it up. You know, Clemson snapped a 730-day bowl win drought for the ACC. The ACC went from Louisville beating Mississippi State December 30th, 2019, all the way until Clemson took down Iowa State in the Cheez-It Bowl without a single bowl victory.
Hey, Chip, guess what?
What?
Fight.
Oh, yes.
Fight.
It's funny. I can't remember who it was, but I was watching a game either yesterday or the day before, and the announcer was doing a promo for this game. It's like Kentucky, Iowa. It's 2 contrasting styles. And I was like, huh? Contrasting styles? They're the same damn team. Mark Stoops is literally turning Kentucky into the SEC's Iowa. That is his game plan. But no, 3 points is too many for Iowa here. Like, they're very similar teams. This is going to be a low-scoring kind of rock fight. Kentucky's going to try to run the ball into Iowa. Iowa's going to try to run the ball into Kentucky. I think Iowa, even without Tyler Goodson, is going to have more success doing it. So give me the Hawkeyes +3. And if it was Kentucky +3, I would be on Kentucky. This is going to be a close game.
Give me the under. It's going to be ugly. Both like similar rock fight. You guys all said all the reasons why it's going to be a low-scoring game. Defense is on display. Not spectacular quarterback play. Give me the under all day long.
The Rose Bowl.
Oh,
wait. Do you have a Citrus Bowl?
I do actually, yeah. So is there 20? The Kentucky team total, I'll take under 23.5.
Okay.
Kind of wait for 24 if you could, but I don't hate playing 23.5. Basically, so Kentucky has no opt-outs for the bowl game, but their number 2 and number 4 most targeted players on the year in Josh Ali and Isaiah Epps are out because they were in a car crash. So they're going to be okay for next year, but they're not playing. A little bit concerned here because Will Levis has almost double the yards per attempt against zone as he does against man. I think that's probably because the play action game works better against some of the zone stuff. But I do think that's a fairly big deal because Josh Ali had 10.2 yards at target this year, which led the team. Wandale Robinson, obviously 8.8 was kind of their most notable guy. He was more their volume dude. Threw the ball into the backfield some. That to me screams maybe a lack of explosive plays for Kentucky. And Kentucky's a team, or Iowa's a defense that doesn't really allow a lot of explosives anyway. So under 23.5 team total for the Wildcats for me.
I can rock with it. Rose Bowl, Ohio State favored by 4.5. Over under of 64. Utah coming in, first time making an appearance in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State with a slew of opt-outs, including the likes of Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. We will be seeing CJ Stroud in this game. Thoughts on the Rose Bowl? Who's got a lock?
I
do.
You go first.
Ohio State. I've been waiting for this to happen. They have double adjusted for the guys opting out for Ohio State. We talked about this, I think, like 3 weeks ago. I was like, just if you want Ohio State, wait, because I guarantee you the number already bakes in Olave and what's his name not playing, right? Garrett Wilson. But Ohio State still has a bunch of studs. They have a ton of good young receivers who you already know about Smith and Jigba, right? But you also have Julian and you have Marvin Harrison Jr. and you still have the better quarterback in CJ Stroud. I'm thinking that that Ohio State scores a whole lot of points here.
Lock agreement. Yeah, I think that this line has gone too far. Everything you just said. It's like I've talked about. Yeah, they're missing the receivers. Who cares? It's Ohio State. They have 50 more. I do have some concern about Petit Frere missing. That is their starting left tackle, but they recruit well on the offensive line. Haskell Garrett is missing, but they recruit well on the defensive line. Ohio State recruits well. It can withstand these losses. Utah, I have some fear the way that Michigan was able to run the ball down Ohio State's throat that Utah will at least attempt to do the same thing. I just don't know if they'll be as successful for it because they have a good offensive line, but I don't think they have an offensive line that's quite on the same level of Michigan's. So I feel like as long as Ohio State shows up jacked and ready to play, they should win this game. And I know that there's some people who question whether they will because of the motivation for playing in the game because players have opted out, but I guarantee you the players in the game will be fired up. Nobody just goes to a Rose Bowl to walk through it.
Give me the Utes. You guys see their helmets?
Did you bet it at 10.5 when it came out?
No.
I tried, but it got hit before I could even get it. Actually got hit down to like 9.
I like the Utes to win this game, just outright. I absolutely think Ohio State. I think it's give a crap factor. I think Kyle Whittingham is one of the more underrated coaches in the country. They smoked Oregon back-to-back because I think Oregon took them lightly. I think Ohio State's a little bit cocky, thinks all they have to do is just show up. By the way, North Carolina just went 3-and-out again, I think. This is about to get ugly. I don't know if Ohio State wants to be there. And, yeah, when they show up and the game's on TV and they turn the lights on and it's there, they'll want to play. But as we've seen in a lot of these bowls, it's not about just wanting to play. It's about the prep that leads up to it. I think Utah will come in here with a better mindset going into the game. Man, I think it's I worry about Ohio State and what they look like in this one. And we'll be ready for next year. Let's go win a championship next year. I don't know if the Rose Bowl resonates as much as we think it does with the Buckeyes. And clearly it doesn't with 4 players. I think Ohio State is a program that has a problem where if you're playing for a championship, everybody's all in. But as soon as you're not, it's checkout city. And I'm just going to, we'll go through practice. We'll play. But I just don't know if the motivation factor is there as much.
Chip, who is this down for North Carolina on the field right now?
Give me the number. I don't have the game pulled up. I'm trying to
it either ends with a 2 or starts with a 2. So
I think it's 52.
52. Okay. Where is CJ Stroud from?
California.
Mm-hmm.
Rancho Cucamonga?
Yeah.
Rancho Cucamonga.
I think he's going to be motivated to play.
Where's Olave from?
When the quarterback is motivated to play, I think everybody else can be motivated to play around him. I think those young receivers who are eager to get on the field and get fed the ball are going to be pumped up to play.
They finally get to play.
Right.
How about those photos of Ryan Day in Disneyland? I couldn't get enough of that, man. Just so happy getting paraded around in a horse-drawn carriage all by yourself. His chest was just puffed with so much joy. I'm glad he's enjoying his time around Pasadena. No play for your boy. Night game on New Year's Day. Baylor and Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. Ole Miss favored by 1.5. Over under a 55.5. Anybody got a lock for the top 10 Sugar Bowl?
If Matt Corral plays, I would 100% be all over Ole Miss. I think he is going to play, but I don't know yet, so I'm not locking anything up.
Are you saying like COVID related, or you because he can't back out now? He already went on the record. I can't leave my guys behind.
Did he go on the record?
Oh yeah, he had a great quote. Like one of my favorite quotes of the bowl season was, "Oh, I'm playing. These are the guys that got me here. There's no way I'm not playing with them." Like he was.
All right, give me Ole Miss
officially-
-1.
Yeah.
Boom, in.
And Jeff Levy is staying too. And I think it's part of this mindset of we want to finish what we started. And I don't know if Brent Venables is thrilled with that, but I think you got to give him a ton of credit for staying there to call the bowl game and stay with his quarterback. So,
Yeah,
I
I think screws up Caleb Williams.
Yeah, right. Very good point.
You got any feels?
Yeah, I'm going to join Tom here with Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss actually is pretty excited to be in the Sugar Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe in Baylor. I think they're an improved team. I think Dave Aranda has done a tremendous job this year, but their offense really is not very good. And I know Ole Miss's defense is not good, but it is improved, especially if you take out some of the pace stuff. The reason I'm not going harder on this is because Aranda has done a really good job against some of the spread stuff. Like, look what he did to Lincoln Riley. Now, obviously, Levy doesn't run the same thing as they do, but yeah, go ahead and give me Ole Miss here. I think this is the right side in the ball game. I'm just not confident that Baylor can score enough.
Let's lock it up. I'm with you guys.
Woo, unity.
You were talking about before about motivation from a quarterback, although I will say this, early returns on that out of the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Sam Howell wanted to be there too. Doesn't look like anybody else did at North Carolina.
Is he still?
Yeah, right. Maybe he opts out of the second half, pulls a Tylan Wallace. Matt Corral to me playing is huge. It was one of and I think when you're evaluating talent, and it's between him or Kenny Pickett, who's going to be the top quarterback off the board. I like Kenny Pickett a lot. I wonder if NFL teams will look at this game as an opportunity for Matt Corral to sort of separate himself. And I think the mindset of finishing what you started will resonate with NFL scouts too. So I like the Rebs here.
All right. And then finally, after that New Year's Day game, we'll have Sunday NFL, Monday NFL, and then Tuesday, January 4th, one last bowl game. It is the Texas Bowl. LSU and Kansas State in NRG Stadium in Houston. Kansas State favored by 3.5, over under a 48.
You know what's going to happen? I'm going to be watching this game on that Tuesday, and I'm going to be like, man, there are too many bowl games. I got nothing for this one. I have no idea. Like LSU, I don't even know who's left. Who cares if they care who they want to play? I think Kansas State's going to show up motivated and ready to play, which is why I would take them. It's just fundamentally, I'm kind of opposed to taking Kansas State -3.5 against LSU.
So Kayshon Boutte is coming back, right? But is he actually playing in this game? Have we seen that?
I have not seen that.
I'm looking for that info. I bet this pretty hard when it was pick and +1. 3.5, as Tom said, is definitely a different number. For locks purposes, I will go ahead and lay it with Kansas State.
Nice.
I don't think LSU wants to be here. I already had, so I made, anticipating some opt-outs for LSU, I made Kansas State 6.5 in this game. I've been thinking LSU's kind of BS all year, as you guys know. Like, that was kind of one of my early things. So I'm going to keep riding that. Damone Clark's not playing. Neil Farrell is not playing. Trey Palmer is in the transfer portal, the receiver. Although we do know that you can play if the staff wants to let you play, as we saw with WKU. I got burned on that. Nussmeier, do we know exactly what's going to happen with Nussmeier in this game? Because if he doesn't play, like, this game will burn his red shirt.
Which is stupid, by the way.
Yes.
Because he's got 3 appearances?
4, maybe. Isn't it 4
appearances.
Oh, so then this would be this would burn it.
Yeah. Which is
Yes.
just dumb.
That's
Bowl
gross.
games shouldn't be.
I think he'll play, personally.
And burn the red shirt?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I think it's an opportunity to to put another game on film in front of Brian Kelly. Obviously, Max Johnson is transferred. Miles Brennan is not transferring, but he's not going to play in the bowl game. Chris Kleiman, they have a new offensive coordinator, and that's it as far as I know. And they do expect the quarterback to play.
Skylar Thompson.
Yes. I think LSU is just not a very good team.
Don't hate it. I'd be on Kansas State if anything. Maybe tag it with some dumb college basketball. Tag a Kansas State money line with the college basketball play just to get spicy on a Tuesday here at the beginning of 2022. But no play for me. All right. Before we get to our money line sprinkles, a quick review of where we're at. Tom is on Tennessee -7, Wisconsin -7, Alabama -13.5, Arkansas -2, Iowa +3, Ohio State -4, and Ole Miss -1. Chip is on a loser, North Carolina -12, but don't mark it yet. Wisconsin -7, Alabama -13.5, Arkansas -2, Kentucky -3, Michigan +7.5, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State over 44.5. Danny has Purdue +7.5, the North Carolina, South Carolina under 57.5, Cincinnati +13.5, Wake -16, the Kentucky, Iowa under 44, Utah +4.5, Pitt +3.5, Ole Miss -1, and Georgia, Michigan under 45.5. Bud's got Tennessee -7, Wisconsin first half team total over 12.5, Bama, Cincinnati first half under 30, Arkansas -2, Kentucky team total under 23.5, Ohio State -4, the Notre Dame, Oklahoma State under 44.5, Ole Miss -1, Notre Dame -2.5, Kansas State -3.5. We got ourselves a bar fight 2-on-1. Tom and Bud against Danny in Tennessee, Purdue. 2-1. Chip and Tom against Danny in Alabama, Cincinnati. And then Tom and Bud against Danny. 2. So we got Tom and Bud against Danny. Danny fighting all alone in both Tennessee, Purdue, and Ohio State, Utah. Very interesting for our stats. Outright lock fights include Iowa and Kentucky, Tom against Chip, and Notre Dame, Oklahoma State total. Chip is on the over and Bud is on the under. Our lock unity, Arkansas -2 and Ole Miss -1. Shout out to the SEC. And then lock agreement, Wisconsin -7 with Chip and Tom. Bowl sprinkles. I got one. How many money line sprinkles we want?
I have 2.
Okay.
I got a couple.
All right. Well, I'll just go ahead and start. Michigan. Good value. Coin flip chance they win. I'll go ahead and I'll sprinkle that Michigan.
I'm with you.
Nice.
So
I almost feel like I don't know if Michigan covers like in a tight game. I ever feel like they get blown out or they win outright. You know, I think it's either their year or it's not. And I think if it's their year, they're going to win. And I like this Michigan team. I think they're playing with a ton of confidence. I have no idea where Georgia is mentally. I mean, JT Daniels, the fact that we're even considering making a change at quarterback, I think speaks volumes to the offensive issues. A lot of teams have been in close games for a half and then panicked against that Georgia defense. I don't think Cade McNamara will panic and keep it close, and they'll come out in the end.
I
don't have any.
Don't have. Just come on. Give me one. Give me one.
Money line sprinkle here for the bowl season. All right.
You want Iowa? That's what you want.
I was going to take Iowa. I got Iowa as a.
Yeah. What are the rest of your sprinkles, Danny?
Yeah,
I got Iowa.
Yeah, give me Iowa.
And give me Penn State.
Penn State, I can give you plus 110. All right. So, Bud, you said you're on Iowa too.
Yeah, I mean, if I probably should pick one. It's in the spirit of bowl season. I'm not betting this, by the way. Like that +3 in that game is pretty damn valuable, and obviously the under 23.5. But yeah,
I am on Iowa plus 126 as well, and in my screw it, why not money line sprinkle? Just because who knows? Central Michigan plus 240.
Hey, who knows, right? You know, it just Jim McElwain leading them on over from Arizona to El Paso. Why not? Watch that game on CBS. You can watch it for free on cbssports.com or through the CBS Sports app. We are going to be back with our college football playoff instant reaction show. That's right. It's just like our regular instant reaction shows, which means that when the Orange Bowl goes final and we are all tied up with our responsibilities, which hopefully will happen very quickly, shortly after it's done. Are you live blogging the Orange Bowl?
No.
Okay. That'd be a good start.
If I am, nobody's told me yet.
Okay, well, and if that's the case, then we're all in trouble. But as soon as the Orange Bowl goes final or as close to it, we are going to be at youtube.com/cover3 breaking down what happened in each of the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl, as well as some of the other highlights from the New Year's Eve games. And of course, since we will have our national championship matchup set, our initial thoughts on what is going to come in Indianapolis about a week and a half later. So youtube.com/cover3, go to the notifications, smash those notifications. And depending on where you are, that means that you get to spend your New Year's Eve with Cover 3. Might break out the tux again. Might have some champagne. Who knows? We'll see. Only time will tell, and only you can find out if you come join our New Year's Eve celebration, New Year's Rockin' Eve with the Cover 3 podcast, recapping all of the college football playoff. Were you going to say something, Tom?
I am live blogging the Orange Bowl.
Okay. So hopefully it is a blowout so that we can have as much pre-written as possible. You can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fernell. You can follow him at Danny Cannell. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.